Welcome to the All Access Podcast from the experts at Tevis. Each episode, we'll talk about technology topics, trends, or solutions that manufacturers need to know in today's rapidly evolving times. Sit back, enjoy the discussion, and let us know what you think.
Hello, my manufacturing friends, and welcome to the All Access Podcast. I am your host, Michael Thiessen, and we're going to be diving into our, I would say, favorite topic that we'd like to cover because it's an important topic that we should focus on, and that is looking at our future. And looking at our future manufacturing, and especially looking at the resources or the individuals that will be continuing on our manufacturing in the future when we're retired and sitting on the beaches of Bora Bora. And so I don't have the answers. That's why we're inviting always experts to the field that really know what they're doing and have their fingers on the pulse. And in today's episode, we've invited two individuals from the Oakland Schools Technical Campus. Obviously, you guys are aware of that we are doing this from Michigan, especially we are sitting in Troy, Michigan. And that's why we're looking at the Oakland Schools Technical Campuses, or in other words, OSTC, for some of you guys that know who they are. And the two individuals that we've invited are Wyatt and Paul Galbenski. And we're going to be asking them a little bit of what that future manufacturing force kind of looks like, and if there's if it's dead or not. So, David, Paul, thanks for joining the All Access Podcast. I really enjoyed talking with you beforehand already, and I know this episode will be a blockbuster. So thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, we really appreciate this opportunity to speak with you.
Oh, awesome. Same here. Tell me a little bit about OSTC, and either one of you can answer and you can cut each other off. That's totally fine. So, Paul, why don't I ask you this about OSTC? Tell me a little bit about what it does.
Yeah, so OSTC is set up here in Oakland County, Metro Detroit area, where we have 4 technical campuses located in Pontiac, where I'm at, Dave's in Clarkston, one in Royal Oak, and one in Wixom. And the primary focus of these 4 technical campuses is to deliver regional career and technical education, CTE, to our juniors and seniors from our various sending districts, public, private, charter schools that will attend, and even our homeschool students are able to attend the campuses. And they are focusing on 17 amazing areas. Those are the programs that are offered for students throughout Oakland County, and we're an extension of their local high school. So as I like to often say, they can take a course down the hallway of their local high school or just down the road to one of our 4 technical campuses, where they're focusing in on earning stackable credentials, getting amazing experiences at the campuses, and also dovetailing with our business and industry work-based learning opportunities. So very, very high-level view, Michael, of what is available for our juniors and seniors throughout Oakland County.
Okay. So is it only for juniors and seniors in particular that have already made a decision of which direction they want to go?
Yeah, so really the best way to answer that, it's for the most part where they just have the most flexibility within their academic schedule to fit us in, because they come to us for half of their school day. So we hold 2 sessions at all 4 of our campuses. We either have an AM session or a morning session, and then a PM session or afternoon session. And those students are with us for half of their school days. So there's just more flexibility in those 2 years towards the end of high school to where they've gotten a lot of their cores done, a lot of their prerequisites done that they have to do for the Michigan Merit Curriculum prior to kind of coming to us. We do have an opportunity, meaning academic-wise, where students are able to take CTE courses for beyond elective credit. Some do, and they just need elective credit, and that's why they're here. But some come here because they're able to also, in addition, maybe get Algebra 2, or they can use it as an exchange. get another foreign language credit out of the way, a science credit out of the way, a fourth-year math credit out of the way. And that's just naming a few. Districts can be creative, and we can be creative as well on those other opportunities students are able to get that they can apply towards the Michigan Merit Curriculum, which then leads to, obviously, graduation.
Right. So do you see, you guys are both on two different campuses. I think, David, you're in Clarkston, and Paul, you're in Pontiac, or where are you at?
That's correct. I'm located in Pontiac.
So do you guys see a difference in enrollment numbers because of the areas that you guys are at, or do you have an overcompensation in one area and then you bust them over to the other, or what is happening when it comes to that?
Yeah, that's a good question, Michael. So that's a yes and no, and I know that's not always a great answer, but the reason I say that is that each of the campuses, each of our 4 campuses, although we have a lot of similarities as far as the offerings that we also have some differences, and we have some regional programming that happens at our campuses as well. So to give you an example of that, I get here at the Clarkston campus, the primary school districts that come to me are obviously Clarkston, Brandon, Holly, and Waterford. However, I do have some programs that are offered here that Paul doesn't offer at his campus at Northeast. So I get students from his quadrant, that region of the county, that Northeast region, Lake Orion, Rochester, Avondale, Pontiac, Oxford, Lake Orion, to name a few, that will come here to take graphic communication design, because that's not offered at Northeast, or agri-science and environmental technologies. And once again, so we have some regional programs that we have as well. What we have is that our sending districts that are primary for that quadrant that come to us, they offer transportation. So students are able to either, option 1, get driven here by a school bus. Option 2, they can drive themselves here. Or option 3, they can have a relative or a friend or whomever drive them here as well. However, if there is a regional program, not all districts will send to that other campus. So we kind of luck out a little bit. We're very fortunate, like Lake Orion, for example. They'll send to both of our campuses because there's a large crop of students that come to us. But I do have some students that are here from, let's say, Huron Valley, which would be Milford and Lakeland High School, or from Wall Lake schools that come here for the energy and electrical or construction program. Those students do not get transportation provided, so they have to find their own transportation, either by having a parent or relative bring them here, or by driving themselves. So that's why I kind of gave the yes/no answer, because it just depends. I mean, Paul has at his campus, and I'll let him speak to this. He has 2 programs that his campus is the only campus in all of Oakland County that even offers these 2 programs. And I'll let you kind of jump in on that.
Yeah, and I think, Michael, that one leads into one of the areas we were talking about, with our focus on our engineering, our manufacturing, our robotics, our machining. Our machining program in Oakland County is housed at the Northeast campus, and we get students from across the county that will attend to then work in that career area. The other area that's regional for us is our cosmetology program. Students from across the county are able to come here for that. So those are some big high-level things, as Dave talked about, and some of the details of how students get to the various campuses. And we work hand in hand with those sending districts. We are their partner. We share those students, and we both are working towards that goal of graduation, helping them meet those Michigan Merit curriculum requirements, as Dave mentioned earlier, but then also give them those unbelievable opportunities to explore, experience, and excel in a career field that they've done some research on, that their education development plan lines up with, and they get a head start on that, which is an amazing opportunity for our students and our parents. And more importantly, when we take a look at this, you led this off, Michael, of who's going to be the next people leading this. These students are the ones going to be filling those jobs and being the ones that are out there on the cutting edge and working with that. And so that really then gets into that economic and that workforce development piece that
it's important.
Both fit together.
It's 100% important. And I got to ask this now to both of you. Who has the video gaming course? Because I have a sophomore in high school. And, of course, when we talk about, okay, what do you want to do? And he has his older siblings, and he goes, "Oh, what my sister is doing, that's kind of interesting, and she's in the automotive world, and oh, my oldest son is also in the automotive world," so he gets kind of influenced towards that. But if I'd really ask him, oh, video gaming would be something that he was going to do. How do you get these young individuals that have an affinity towards machining or welding or culinary or cosmetology and are not in the clouds and saying, yeah, I want to do, well, maybe I'll go to college and do business and lay low and have fun. And how do you find these young individuals?
That's a great piece where we have our partnerships with our sending districts and our counselors and our business and industry partners. We get them on campuses. They have lots of opportunities to come in. We do visits out to the high schools where our counselors are talking about all of these programs, get a little bit of interest there. We do showcases where we physically bring them on our campus where they're in doing hands-on projects in all of these 17 different programs we have. And then that leads up into our career nights that each of the campus holds, where it's open to the public and it's open to those 8th, 9th, and 10th graders so that they can get a look and feel and be in the campus and see things in action. And I'll tell you, the best part of all of these things is our student ambassadors, because then it becomes student to student saying,
Absolutely.
hey, this is what I'm thinking I'm doing. This is what I'm experiencing here at OSTC. This is an amazing place to come. You need to come here. And so that is how we connect with them, where they get those opportunities. We also offer after school opportunities for students to come and be involved in the program. So a lot of it is getting them through the doors, across the threshold, opening up to these state-of-the-art facilities that all 4 of these campuses have in all 17 of our programs.
Yeah. Now, you guys just had, I think, a career fair just a few days ago. What is usually when these kids come through the gym doors or wherever you are hosting these career days? Is there excitement, or are kids just like when we go to these expo shows where people just walk through with a glass with a drink in their hand and really don't want to talk to you? Is there like a genuine interest of, oh, what is this and what is that, and get involved and have excitement there?
There is absolutely. The minute they walk in the door, our student ambassadors go out to those buses, and even on those career nights, they're welcoming the students, they're showing them through. But really what's happening in all of these different things is they're seeing hands-on and participating in many of these while they're here. So they're getting a true taste of it. It's just not a walk through or a walk by or drive by, whatever anybody wants to do. They are immersed in this, and they get a lot of questions answered from the students, from the instructors regarding the equipment, regarding how does this all work? How does it mesh with our home school? Our counselors are involved. Our academic support staff that we have at the campuses work with them. And then they really learn about a lot of the big things. Because one thing I think we might dive into a little bit in today's podcast is our technical early college that we have for students. So those events that you're asking specifically, when we have a career night and the buildings are open, they get immersed into exactly what is happening. They get to see it, touch it, feel it, and be a part of it.
Yeah, I think Paul's exactly right. And we do so many, we kind of use the word drips with kids, whether they're mailings we send out or we bring them here or we encourage them and their parents. It's amazing to me the amount of kids that come back time and time again to different things that we have, whether they're during the school day or after school hours. The same way that they would if they were excited about going to basketball or football or baseball or whatever it is that they're looking to do. It's almost that same excitement, which when I first got here, I was kind of like, interesting. But you'll see, we'll bring a group of kids in. They'll do what we call them our sophomore showcases, where they get to tour our campus, tour our programs. And then, a few nights later, you might see them back at our campus with their parents. And they're like, oh my gosh, I want to show you, Mom and Dad, this thing that I saw in this class. And it's you would think, right? I was a teenager once. I did it once. No, like some of these kids, like they'll keep coming back. If our doors just stayed open, they'd be here every day if they had an option to. It's really interesting and really cool to see that excitement.
Now, obviously, we Paul and I, we talked a little bit beforehand. So the stigmatism that we have, or that is being socially promoted, that kids, you need to go to college in order to be somebody or in order to make it in life somewhere. Has that changed?
It is changing. Yeah. It hasn't quite received and evolved to where it really needs to be. But when parents and students understand what's happening, because we do know the cost of education is through the roof at the post-secondary level. And when we do this, and I've talked many, many times on this, unfortunately, we do career exploration at the highest dollar amount possible called university.
Mm-hmm.
Where we're going to throw $125,000, hope something sticks on the wall on the back end, and we have something. Students that are in our programs as juniors and seniors, tremendous leg up on that. I kind of want to go back to where you talked about, Michael, about the video gaming. Now, we have computer programming opportunities. Phenomenal. They're getting Java credentials, HTML3, CSS, all of the HTML, all of those things that are in there. But a lot of times they want to play games, not program them, right? So what a great way to come here and figure out, you know what? Sitting behind this, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of lines of code. That's not me. I enjoy playing. But what a better way to find out when you're a junior in high school or a senior that, you know what? That career looked pretty cool, but that's not for me because I got to try it out here. And so I think as we change and people are more informed of what these opportunities are, when parents hear that they can come and enroll in an Oakland Technical Early College option, and in their 13th year, the year after they graduate from high school, walk away with an associate's degree with zero. Let me say it again, zero out-of-pocket costs, that gets people's attention because not only have they saved money in an area that maybe they were going to pursue or not pursue, but they've walked out and they have credentials and they have experience and they're ready to hit the ground running. And that's where our business and industry partners are coming in our work-based learning. They're working with these students doing live interviews during their junior and senior year. It's like, wow, live interview. Mm-hmm. I go there 3-4 days a week. They see my work progress. Now here's the beauty of it. They see that, and then they're the ones investing in for them for that next level, credential, associate's degree, bachelor's degree, whatever that case may be. Right. So as people are becoming more and more informed, Michael, it is shifting, but it is still out there. It is still out there where people believe it's what old voc ed used to be. Correct. We are no longer voc ed. We are career and technical education.
Absolutely.
And focusing in those areas.
And the thing is so important, David, I'll let you say on this topic too. Having a trade can give you so many dividends throughout life. Even if you're not going to do this trade, but you know how to do electrical work. I mean, I don't know how many times I had to do electrical work, not just on my house, on my son's house, on my daughter's house, and probably on my younger son's house once he ever gets there. But this is something that can have dividends throughout life. And we're in need on so many different tradesmen, if that's machinists. So many shops I walk into, they're looking for people and can't find them. And it's really important. David, you had something to say too.
Yeah, and this is adding on to everything that Paul had indicated too as well. I'll give you kind of a personal example here. So prior to coming to Oakland Schools, I had always worked in a comprehensive. I was a social studies guy as a teacher, and then moved my way up into administration at a comprehensive high school, and then found my way here. And one of the things that attracted me to come to OSTC and to pursue kind of this pathway was I always felt as if we were missing something at the comprehensive. We kind of promoted this whole idea, not in an intentional way to harm students, but a way to hopefully build them up was, man, go to college. That's where you get that piece of paper. It's going to lead to an awesome career, and you're going to get the highest earnings possible in fill in the blank career, right? Yeah. But yet the reality was we were really just setting them up to go to college and to get a lot of debt and potentially find stuff that wasn't even out there, or there wasn't even a high demand for, meaning, correct, great, you want to become blah, but there's only really like 10 jobs in the entire world for that. And yeah, sorry, we told you that you can make $1 million a year doing it, but you're one of 5 million people that are applying for that. And that's up to you. And so I looked at the skills that you can get at a CTE program. And you, Michael, you hit on this. If you can learn a trade and you can master a certain skill, you can set yourself up to, with very little, if any schooling at all, making triple digit dollars as a teenage kid, as a 20-year-old kid. And if you can't, there's opportunities to use that skill to get maybe a couple license or whatever you need to do. And in many cases, the demand is so high, companies are willing to pay for you to go back to school and get it. So you're getting paid while they're paying for you to go to school. And all of a sudden now you're up into that triple digit. And there's things that AI is not going to take away. AI is not going to take away a great auto mechanic. AI is not going to take away a great electrician or a great, construction worker, et cetera. And it's, you get to me coming here, what I have seen, and I've said this 1,000 times, Paul's probably tired of hearing me saying it, is our kids get truly the most well-rounded educational experience possible. They got all the academic stuff back at their home high school. They get some here, but now they get to put it to practice. You see the real aha moments, the light bulb moments for kids when they're like, man, I don't like geometry, but all of a sudden they're out there building a house and it goes, oh, now I understand why we need to understand slope. Yeah, right. There's a reason for it. The pitch of your roof isn't right. It's going to leak. So you better figure it out. But they're able to apply it. And that's the piece where this isn't, once again, a knock on our locals and whatnot. But those are things that teachers aren't able to do at a comprehensive. They're not out building a house while they're teaching geometry. It's impossible, either because of budgeting or because they don't have industry experience to actually teach the kids how to apply it.
Right.
And so that's our job, and that's what we're able to do. And that's what excites me about what we're able to do and create those aha moments for kids and set them up. For the next
so is this only is this curriculum only offered to public high schools or also to private high schools or anything like that in between in the Oakland area?
All of the above. All of the
above.
Yep. So any student that is attending any of our 28 local districts here in Oakland County, as well as any of the charters, any of the privates, and Paul also mentioned, even if you're a homeschool student, a homeschool family, you have an opportunity to come to OSTC as well.
Awesome. Now, Paul and I also talked a little bit about that. Obviously, the industry is changing quite a bit, and especially right now. And David, you already talked about this. There's intelligence that I don't have, which is this artificial intelligence that we hear pretty much on a daily basis. It's being crammed down our throat. That this industry is almost like it's called this new industrial, or it's bigger than the industrial revolution that we've had way back when. That this is going to be a brand new avenue and a brand new usability of this artificial knowledge. Obviously, you have to change with times too. You are no longer doing underwater basket weaving and that kind of curriculums. How does that change in the way how you do curriculum? And because you have to find the experts. Where do these experts come from, or these teachers come from that have that experience?
Well, that's the $1 million question right now, Michael. And I say that when we look at it. So let me just kind of address a little bit the AI piece.
Yeah.
We have to embrace it. We have to figure out how it can be used as a tool to increase productivity, to then focus maybe on some other areas. So our teachers are dipping their toes into it, and they're figuring it out how they best then can change their craft so that the students then are gaining the benefits of that. And so that is where we are right now with this AI piece, right? I mean, it's a piece that we are addressing. We are working with it. We are working with it with our staffs. I mean, our students are very immersed in AI and all of those things that are in there with everything that's around it. But it's also like, how do we harness this tool, AI, to best then support what it is that we're attempting to do in this particular trade, in this particular program.
Correct.
And so that's one piece that's there. But then we want to really talk about, and I think you kind of led me into this, where do we find these teachers to teach all of these programs that we have? Because when you look at this, there is a salary difference between what industry offers and what education can pay when you are taking a look at someone who is now able to teach these. Because all of our teachers have to have business and industry experience. If you're a machining instructor, you must have come from industry. And then they also have to have the academic credentials, right? That can then be worked on as they're in here, but that is the piece that's in there. And you have to, first and foremost, find somebody who's willing and has a passion for students.
Correct.
That's the key. And so when we look at that, that's the stuff that keeps myself up. And I think I can speak with Dave as well, because we do job postings and there's not thousands of people running to this. I mean, it's like, okay, let's just hope there's a couple good qualified candidates because this is needed. So there are some things in here that we have to look at, as well as from an education standpoint, as well as a business and industry standpoint. We've got to find some sort of balance, that's in there. When you've got auto mechanics that can make well over $100,000 out there doing their craft, but then when they come into the education realm, there's nowhere near that type of salary. That is a tough pill to swallow, and it takes the right person to do it. So I don't have an answer for that, but that's what does keep me up at night, right? Because where do we find these people to step in for these amazing roles that have to be done so that our next generation of workforce is developed properly?
Right. And at times, I think it comes back to, if you're an individual that has retired or something from a craft and you have the experience and you want to give back in order that society continues on with this particular craft, I think those individuals, hopefully some of them are listening to, that they can get in touch with you and say, hey, listen, I've got this expertise. Do you have a room for me in order for providing this to the young kids?
Absolutely. And I think a lot of times, Michael, you nailed it. They don't even know that that's an option, because they're like, well, I don't have an education degree. Look, if you know your craft and you can work with high school students, right?
Which is at times is not easy.
No, it can be a challenge sometimes, but getting this out and letting people know they're able to do that, that's many times how we are able to recruit.
Right.
And get them in here to work with the young people and do it. So you nailed it right there. And it's just more, again, as we talk about getting the word out about CTE, we also need to get the word out that people that had a good career, 20, 25-year career, 30, they're retiring, they want to give back. There is room for that to happen in this realm of career and technical education.
Right. Now, both of you guys on the two different campuses, of course, you have different curriculums that you guys teach, but which one are which curriculum or which class or which industry is the most desired by the students on both of your campuses? David, why don't you start us off there?
So we have a handful, right? Because it's amazing how every kid's not the same, and so they all have their own dreams and passions of whatever that next step is after high school. One that's consistently always filled here at this campus, I'll give you three that are very popular. Automotive. Automotive awesome. Is always historically, I could not step on even Paul, so it's like all four of our campuses, auto is always full. There is an interest still to work on cars. For out here, then this would be kind of specific for this campus, because I'm one of only two of the campuses that has this program, is our energy and electrical program, where students can learn about residential and commercial wiring, but they also get to dabble in line working. If they want to go work for like DTE or consumers, they get to learn a little bit about what that looks like, even some renewable energies. Obviously, that's a popular topic. And then once again, at this campus in Clarkston would be our agri-science and environmental technologies. Still very rural, this northern part of Oakland County. A lot of students still have live active farms, so they're looking to carry that family tradition on. Or some of them are looking to become sustainability farmers and potentially open up their own nursery or flower shop, or that's one avenue. But then we also have, if students are looking to become veterinarians or vet techs, that's another part of this program as well that they can learn and be part of. So those three, I would say, are our really hot ones that we have every single year. They are at capacity or above capacity or even a wait list. Don't get me wrong, the other ones that are out there, like our health sciences, entrepreneurship, advanced marketing, graphic communication design, once again, just they're right there too. But I feel like those three are ones that kids really like, they will come out here consistently and they want to know more about, they want literature on, they're the kids and parents call, about what those programs are. So at least at this campus.
Right.
So
Paul, how about on your campus?
Yeah, the number one that there's always a wait list and over enrolled is welding.
Wow.
Dave does not have that offered at his campus. We have it here. By far, that's the one that is always full, and a wait list, as Dave said. Also, our engineering, robotics, mechatronics are always at capacity for that particular program, and obviously our machining program being the one that's located here that services the county. Those would be three of the top enrolled. Much like what Dave said, the other ones have very, very strong enrollments in all of the programs. Our construction technology here, we actually build a home that gets moved into the Pontiac neighborhood for a family. So you
Awesome.
talk about putting your skills together and meeting the standards and all of the inspections. We want green stickers every single time when they come
Right.
out because a family's going to live in that. And I think, those would be the areas that at this campus it's here. And I just want to circle back a little bit on that with those high enrollment pieces, but just the pride the students have, when they come back and they tell us, hey, I'm working here, I'm at Williams International in their apprenticeship program, or I'm over at Hero Tech, or we have lots and lots and lots of business partners through all of our programs to do it. But I go back to that house example, here at the technical campus, they participate in all their extracurricular activities, mostly at the high school. We have our robotics, we have our Skills USA, we have our HOSA, we have our DECA, we have our MITES, we have student organizations that the students participate here. But I go back over, I spent 22 years as a high school basketball coach. I know Dave coached as well. So everybody always wants to talk about the trophy cases or the state championship rings or the league title. The students that build that home, that is their trophy. When that home is there 5-10 years from now and they drive by and they say, I shingled that roof, I hung that door, I did that siding on that side of the house. There's immense pride that these students have because they truly are building a better tomorrow in that particular case for it. So those areas that we have the high levels of where those enrollments are or interests, that's because obviously that's what the demands are in business and industry.
Right. I think you nailed it. You're right on top of the head that if you do something with your hands or if you apply yourself and you accomplish something and you see the fruits of your labor in front of you, that is an enormous amount of pride because you can point it out that I've done this. And this is something, of course, when you do accounting later on in college, there's a number, so great. Or what I do right now, what I do in this company is the sales management. It's great to acquire a new company and all of that kind of stuff. But before that, I was physically doing work with my hands in a model shop. And I was working on the next vehicle that's coming out 3 years down the road. And I could say then to my wife, hey, look, I worked on this. Hopefully it was not one of those cars that have recalls all the time, but that's another story. But you mentioned something very interesting, Paul. Obviously, when these kids graduate high school, there are some of them that decide, of course, to go towards college, and other ones want to go into the trade. Do you help some of those kids that have a desire not to go to college but go to a trade in order to find their next home of where they want to be?
Absolutely. Our students have all types of opportunities upon graduation. Michael, like you said, they could go right into an apprenticeship program that we help them get into. They could be in our early college program, which our staff, our student support staff, our academic staff do a great job helping them through that early college path. They could go right into the workforce. They could go into the military. They could go into a specialty trade, a 2-year university, or a 4-year university. And our support staff and our teachers all work with them to get them to that next level. Because our North Star at the campuses is every student graduates progressing to quality post-secondary learning. And that last word, learning, is key because we're all lifelong learners.
Absolutely.
Which path are you choosing to continue your learning. And so we work with them and we give them those opportunities. I want to highlight one thing that dovetails exactly into this. We're in the spring season, and I want to, Dave will be able to give you a deep dive on this, but at a very high level, both the fall and the spring, we have business and industry partners that come in and they do industry evaluations. So it's no longer their teacher grading them and working with them. It's a business and industry person coming in. So in construction, I'll give a quick example. In the fall, they have to have a blueprint. These are brand new students. They're brand new to the curriculum. They get a blueprint. They've been taught how to read a blueprint. They build a sawhorse. People are like, that's pretty simple. Well, if you've tried to build that as a new student, you got to meet all of the specs. That sawhorse then has a grading rubric that a business and industry comes in and evaluates them on. And that grade goes in the grade book. And so we do that in the fall. And then in the spring, we do the mock interviews. And I'll let Dave pick it up from there for how that then is something how we then promote what happens next after graduation and into the post-secondary.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. So very similar to the fall. In the spring, we hold mock interviews. And so every student in every program will meet with an industry partner or an advisor, and they will sit and they will act as if they are truly in a job interview setting. So they will come with a resume, they will come with a portfolio that they have been working on and constructing with the help of their instructor, as well as our academic instructors that we have as well that have got that portfolio together. And they will sit for a mock interview. After that interview, there is a rubric that those interviewees will go through with the interviewers, and they will talk about, hey, Paul, this was your area of strength. Man, you just rocked that out. That was an outstanding answer. Keep up the great work on this, etc. Or they'll say, hey, here's some suggestions on how you can improve your response to this particular question. With it, maybe here's another way to phrase it, or here's another example you could have used, or you could have built on. And so the hope is kids, as they're going through their interviews, besides just spouting off some answer, they're using some technical terms, but then they're also able to refer back to their portfolio and say, hey, let me show you an example of what quality work looks like in this. Here's, for this culinary, here's a cake that I actually baked and I designed and I put, did. And this could be, let's say you're applying for and trying to get a job to be a baker that does professional wedding cakes and whatnot. And so those are the examples that we have our kids take with them as they go through that process. The other piece with it is that our kids are also, so we have our technical vocabulary and skills that our kids are doing in the classroom and they're presenting on, but we also have what are called career readiness skills or soft skills or employability skills that our kids are graded on as well. And they get feedback not only from their instructors, but also from our industry experts as well. And so those are things such as, are you a really good problem solver? Are you a good communicator? Are you a good collaborator? Do you have good personal management? And once again, that's just naming a few, but those things are also instrumental in having students ready for the next step. We know this generation, they love technology. And if they could just text everything and send some emojis and get a job, they would probably be ecstatic. But that's not the reality of what the workforce looks like. At least in many cases. And so we want to make sure that they can sit down and converse with somebody back and forth, face to face, eye to eye, and not just through a text or an email or Facebook or Snapchat or TikTok.
Right. Let me ask you this question, and you don't have to answer this, but I'll ask it anyways. Have you ever come across students where you say, you know what, maybe he's not that mechanically inclined, but I see that maybe on the electrical side, he has very good knowledge, where you steer now these kids to say, you know what, maybe you should think at this. Has that ever come across?
Yes, we will get that where a student may come into a program, and let's say specifically we're going to talk about our engineering, robotics, mechatronics program. I mean, it's a wide program. A lot of topics are covered. And so as they go through that first year and get that experience, to your point, Michael, that second year when they come back, maybe it is a deep dive in electrical. Maybe it is a deep dive in earning a credential in SolidWorks and those types of things. Maybe it is in that second year that they're working on where they get their SOCA, basic operations, which is the Smart Automation Certification Alliance, Industry 4.0, where they are working through all of those. And so that is where the teacher, our counselors, they work with it. Because think about this, Michael. If you're here for a year, 2.5 hours a day, 5 days a week, you get to know your students. And then think if you're there for 2 years, you're with that instructor for 2 years of your 4 year in a high school situation at 2.5 hours a clip. And so that is where that guidance comes in. That is where they will work with them and say, let's maybe lean a little bit over here. Or we have sometimes student may finish a program their junior year and say, this was great. I learned how to do this. This is going to help me down the road. But I really wanted to go over and try this program. And so that is where the conversation happens amongst staff, amongst the counselors and the students and the parents to see exactly where that student best then wants to go.
The reason why I asked this, I went to Grand Valley and I went to mechanical engineering. One of my mechanical engineering instructors came up to me and said, Michael, ever thought about going towards electrical engineering? And my answer in my typical way was, you know what? I like to see what hits me, not feel it. And of course, that was the end of that story. And the guy said, you know what? He's a lost cause. And that was it. But so potentially, I mean, we're coming towards the end of the segment almost. But what I want to do is there might be some young engineers or some young or just high school kids that want to know more about OSTC, and their high school may just not have the information, or the high school has never been exposed to it. What can they do in order to reach out? Because obviously their school didn't provide this information to them.
Sure, they can go to our website, OSTConline.com, and that covers all of our programs. It has videos of all of our programs, students' testimonials, but more importantly, it has contact information for both Dave and myself, our counselors at the 4 campuses, instructor contact. Really, if they just are able to reach out, and if that's not something that they're able to do, they then can go to their homeschool counselor and say, hey, I heard this amazing place on this podcast. Can you connect me with it, right? And their homeschool counselor would be able to direct them to connect with us, because then again, placement, we work hand in hand with the sending district to make sure that that student has all of the requirements then to graduate. But our website has a wealth of information. Again, that's OSTConline.com, and they would be able to reach out and contact us that way.
Awesome. Both of you, final question. Is there anything that you would like to tell the future workforce, what they should be doing, or what they need to be doing in order to prepare for the future, or in order to make a decision of what they want to do with the rest of their life? Paul, why don't you start us off with that?
Yes, I would say my first piece of advice is we want all of our students to be career ready, period. And what steps will get you where you are right here and now as a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old, a 17-year-old? What steps can you get involved in, exposed to, training you can take that will get you closer and closer to that ultimate career that you want to be prepared for?
Very good. David, anything from you?
Nope.
Or did Paul steal the show?
He had a great answer. To just add to that, don't be afraid to try new things. Don't be afraid, go after what your heart desire is, and you'd be very surprised on your interests and your goals and all of those things combined. There are jobs out there for you, and we are here to help you find your heart's desire. Whether you just want to dabble in it as a hobby or you want to make a true career out of it, don't be afraid to try it.
Awesome. Well, thanks to both of you for coming onto this podcast and sharing your experiences with all the listeners here too. And secondly, thank you for your experience and willingness to give to the younger generation, because without people like you, some of these kids would be trapped and going to college and then having debt through the roof, and then being handcuffed to their credit card. So thanks to both of you.
Thank you.
Well, we came to the end of this podcast. Future workforce. Hopefully you've listened to this And there are a lot of different career opportunities out there for you. And college may be great. It may have some interesting avenues for you there, but that is not the end all. There are multiple things for you to do. There's multiple trades for you to explore, and maybe OSTC has those answers. If you are a junior or if you're a sophomore going into your junior year, look it up just to see what they're doing. And that could maybe open up a completely new career path that you'd never even thought about beforehand. So I thank you for listening to this podcast. We hope that you found this podcast interesting, that the discussions that you heard were insightful and valuable to you. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on your Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever you get your podcasts from there. And feel free to share the episode with your network and leave us a review. We'd love to hear back your feedback and all of this. For more updates, follow us, of course, on Instagram, on X, on LinkedIn, on all the different platforms that you have out there. Social media is vast. Well, until next time, keep shaping the future of manufacturing, and tune in to the All Access podcast again.
Thank you for joining this episode of All Access. Please leave a comment or review with your feedback or what you'd like to hear in future episodes. To learn more about manufacturing technology solutions and TEBIS's capabilities, visit our website at TEBIS. That's TEBIS.com.